Precision farming is out for FS25, so we're here on the map of Sobolowo in Poland. This is a great map. I thought we'd do this here, and we're going to go through and explore everything there is to see how precision farming works in FS25 now that it's out. It's a really extensive mod, so if you haven't played it, it's a really extensive mod that adds a lot of potential to micromanage your farm in many different realistic ways. If you're not into micromanaging, then you don't have to worry about it because pretty much every step, for instance, variable seed rates can be automatic, sprayer rates can be automatic, everything like that. So you can micromanage, what I'm saying is, as much or as little as you want on your farm. And so you can just monitor and admire the addition of pH balance and nitrogen rates and everything. You can admire all the cool intricacy this adds to the game without worrying about it, or you can fuss with it all you want. All right, so we're here to check this out. Now, if you've used it in previous games like FS19 and FS22 is where I used it previously, it works the same from what I've seen so far. However, there are new features, and I'd like to talk about as much of it as we can. First of all, when you first run precision farming, it will say, hey, there's a help page you might want to check out for this. Now, of course, you're familiar. If you're not, you should check this out. The game has a very good help section. Well, precision farming adds a whole another library to it, basically. Now, I've gone through all of this and read all of this. There's a lot here. It seems a bit overwhelming if you haven't gone through it or if you haven't used it before, but we're going to go through that here today and, yeah, on our little farm here. One big thing is, so we're going to be doing this basically in spectator mode, okay? We're going to be doing this with all the automatic everything, all right? Now, you see right here, this is our environmental score. I'm going to talk about this here in a second. This is our overall score for our farm, and each individual field has one as well. I have trimmed this down to just 2 fields, so that, and we're going to be managing both of these fields over the course of this video, over the course of a year or however long. And I sold off the other property just to have just the 2 fields, and we're going to see if we can't get our environmental score up to 100. Just yeah, like I said, everything with the automatic rate. I want to do this. I'm going to show you everything as we go, but we're not going to do the manual anything. Okay, we're just going to be like, okay, so if we just do the suggested. It's not just that it's suggested, it's that this equipment, for instance, the sprayer right here. For instance, the sprayer right here, I fitted on this Fendt Xylon. And this is something else I wanted to test as a side note. Notice it has the equipment on it, and I'll talk about this. It has the equipment on it for the precision farming add-on here. I'll show you real briefly. I want to take a side step here. This is the sprayer boom that goes with the Fendt Xylon, which is, of course, a mod. But even though it's a mod, it has options. And even though precision farming just came out, it has options right here. So now what I was saying about the automatic spray rate, it's not like automatic. It's not like putting a game on easy mode and does everything for you. This is real life things. These right here are cameras, which monitor where and where not, where the weeds are and where to spray and where not to spray. This is nozzle modulation, to control the pulse width and like frequency coming out of the nozzle. So what I'm saying is it's got computers built in that actually, manage all that for you. So all I'm saying is putting an automatic is not like easy mode in a game. It's not cheat mode. It's just using the computers, which are visually built into the sprayer boom here. And I also wanted to mention that even though this is a mod, I have tested this out. We have also the Aserio Pro Compact on the mirrors. Let me install that there as well. And we'll talk about that too once we get there. So as a side note, yeah, you can use it with at least some mods for sure. Already have support for it, and also that we're going to be using the automatic seeding rate and spray rate and everything like that. But it's again, it's not if you didn't know, it's not a cheat or anything. It's using the technology which is literally built into the machines, right? So let's go back to here. So we got these 2 fields. Now we don't have any information on these fields yet. The first thing we have to do, and I'll show you some of the equipment we're using. We need to get a soil map of our 2 fields. And so we're going to be talking about some of the equipment of precision farming, the precision farming DLC. Of the equipment, we're going to start with this guy right here. This is the Aserio Pro Scout. We have it here mounted to a side-by-side, which is how it's shown in pictures and stuff like that. You can mount it on a tractor, but it is handy on a little side-by-side. We can just zip around the field. This we'll use to take soil samples to see the 4 kinds of soil, which are actually right here: loamy sand, sandy loam, and silty clay. All of these different types of soil have different pH balance in response to nitrogen, none of which you really have to worry about if you don't want to, which we're not going to, but it's fun to observe it and see the anomalous state of the fields. And and work with all this. You'll see what I mean as we go. So that's going to be used to map out these fields. We're going to do that. The other equipment we have are, well, I showed you the sprayer and told you a bit about that. Also the Acereo Pro, that was the Scout. There's also the Compact and the, which I'll talk about. First, we'll look at this one right here. Here it is, Active. There's the Active and the Compact. So what this is, this mounts on the front of a tractor, and you would do this while you're fertilizing. This actively monitors nitrogen in the leaves, I guess, around you as you drive through the field to send the information to the fertilizer so it can apply the right amount of fertilizer. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's basically what it does. Okay, basically you mount this on your tractor. This is an active device, which I believe you may have to turn on. I forget precisely. But anyway, and so you would use this with your fertilizer sprayer. So your sprayer knows the rate of fertilizer to apply. There's a second option to that, and that's what we have installed in both of our tractors. Actually, we have three tractors. We have three tractors. All three of our tractors have, now every tractor comes with the ability to install this. Unlike an FS22, I don't think every tractor had the ability. Now every tractor does. Even this old Fiat here, yeah, it's a Fiat, has the ability to install the Acereo Pro Compact. Now it's the same thing as that. Notice it's those little white modules in the mirrors. It does the same thing. It detects, yeah, it does what I just said. Except this is not an active device, it's a passive device. It's solar-powered passive device. So as long as there's sunlight out, it's going to be working, and I like it because it saves space. Also, it's great for a tractor that does not have an extra connection to run the Acereo Pro Active. So that's our basic equipment. We're going to run the Scout out here, and I'll talk a little bit more. Let's get started on this. So we've got two fields. So yeah, we got two fields here, and I'd like to see if we can get an environmental score of 100. It goes up to 100. And there's incentive to do this in that if your entire farm, if you have a score of 100 across your farm, then you will have a higher sale price for your crops. I guess, you know, it's an incentive for being environmental. And there are many things that impacts this, as it says in the help menu. We can actually see that here. If we click, right here. So here's the things that weigh into the environmental score. Nitrogen, which is fertilizer, and pH value is lime. Yeah, so let's talk about that. So once you install Precision Farming DLC, when you go to the soil composition, gone are the fertilization and lime filters because the game no longer works like that. There's no longer just blue or dark blue for fertilized and, right? No, instead, you got the Precision Farming thing. And those are now handled in pH and nitrogen. So we have no information for these fields yet, but we'll get to that. So these both weigh into your environmental score. And then weed control, if you have weeds turned on, which we do. I'm just running everything default. Soil sampling, which we haven't done yet, we're about to do. And tillage weighs in, as in how you till your field. So for instance, less invasive forms of tilling are better for the environment because less invasive forms of tilling will use less diesel fuel and dig up less earth, for instance. So a less, like say shallow cultivation, for instance, would give you a higher environmental score. So if you're struggling to get your environmental score up to 100 and you want to get up to 100, and say you fell short in, say, not managing your nitrogen levels in your manure just right, then maybe you choose a different cultivation method to make up some of your score there, for example. Right, anyway, so I talk a little bit about that while we're out here. Now that we're out at the field, let's go ahead and unfold our machine here. It's unfolded. All right, and this thing just takes little soil samples and punches them into those little metal receptacles there. Once we've taken soil samples, we'll have to send them off to the lab to get them analyzed, which takes a couple minutes. It depends on how many samples there were. A field like this would only take a few seconds. And we'll get that information back and creates a soil map. There is alternatively a different way if you didn't want to spend the money on this little machine we have here, which costs, I believe, $17,000. If you didn't want to buy that or whatever, you can just click the field and click purchase soil information. But I don't want to do that. Can click that. I'm going to tell you about these other things as well, including tramlines. Yeah, we didn't get there. We're going to get there. I'm going to mention everything that I can about this. We'll get to the tramlines thing. We're going to do both of these fields. One of these fields we're going to plant wheat in over the winter, and one of these fields we're going to plant oilseed radish in over the winter. We'll talk about that. First of all, now that we have this unfolded, You see on the mini map there's a little green circle, and that's showing where this is going to sample the soil. We want to, let's go ahead and stamp it right here with the standard, machine operation button. We let it go and blink, and now it's turned this area here dark red. We basically just want to get the entire field area covered in the dark red. That signifies the area that's being covered, by the soil sampling. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that, say right here, and just repeat this, throughout your field. One benefit of doing this here on this lovely, beautiful Polish map, it's a beautiful place, beautiful scenery, but also nice, compact fields to do this on. We can get our things done here quickly and easily. So we're going to do one more sample here, and then there'll be one last one, and I'll show you how this works, and then I'll go do the other one. Try to keep this video, I'd like to keep this video concise, but it's going to be a bit of a long video because there's a lot to go through here. We'll take our last sample right here. All right, now there's all our samples taken. Once we have covered, as we have, the entire field, look for the controls to send in the samples. It's in the machine operation. I'm using an Xbox controller, so I'm going to hold the left bumper, and then it's right, it should be Y. Yeah, Y, send soil samples for analysis. So I push that, and it says blah, 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 blah. There we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and pick our machine up. We're just going to run this over to the next field. We should have results back soon, as that was only like 4 samples right there or something. Our other field is right here. Should be momentarily. We'll get our results on that. Oh yeah, while it's up, I was just going to show you while it's already complete. When it's out, it says down here, see it says laboratory, and it would have said, I meant to come here, but it beat me to it. It would have said X amount of soil samples are currently being analyzed. That's how you know, right? But now we have the data back. We can see we now have data for this field. So here's the nitrogen levels in the field. It needs fertilizer, right? pH levels, not incredibly bad, but it does need lime. It's not like the base game where I like this a lot. It's not binary like the game. Yeah, the game by default is binary. Either a field needs lime or it doesn't, right? However, in the base game, just fun side note, I don't mean to digress too much, there is a scale for that in the base game. Though the base game only tells you whether you need lime or not, there is a difference in yield, progressively getting lower after you lime it and until you reapply lime. So even though it only tells you whether it needs it or whether it doesn't, the base game does have some kind of gradient requirement for lime. Okay, that's anyway, but for the lime default, yeah, the game just tells you, do you need it or not? And fertilizer, do you not have any fertilizer, or do you have stage 1 or 2 fertilization, right? And here we just have this beautiful, spectrum of colors. In other words, our pH level is like this. And so that to say, I like this. Now, let's go all the way to the left here on the menu, and you can see here's our soil map. There's 2 kinds of soil on this field. Now, luckily, because our machinery is so advanced, it'll take care of this for us. It shows us there's sandy loam and loam on the field. And our machinery now knows that and will react accordingly with the application rates and stuff. That includes the seeding as well, but we'll get there when we get there. First, guys, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get soil samples. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead, let's fold this machine back up. We did this machine on that field right there the manual way, which is the way I prefer to do everything. Let's go ahead and use the option to just purchase the information for this field. A, it's faster, and B, it'll help us explore the other features of this DLC. All right, so we'll just click here and we'll hit purchase soil information. Number of samples, it says it's going to take 6 samples, cost X amount of money. Yes. And there we go. We just purchased it from the local farming co-op, or however you want to justify that. And here we can see the kinds of soil here. Now, so yeah, any map is going to have underneath the surface of the map, there is a soil map, and you can see like a cross section of it here, And so here's the kinds of soil right here. So we now have the soil information about this field. Let's go ahead and we're going to take our scout back to the farm. We want to come out here and, well, I say first things first, we're going to want to plant wheat, although we can't do that probably until next month. Let's check the calendar here. One of these we want to plant wheat over the winter, and the other one we want oilseed radish. So let's talk about oilseed radish, and we'll plant that probably we'll plant both next month. Now, I want to do oilseed radish in one. Oilseed radish is a fun crop, which has always been in the game, but has really not much point in using it. It says that, I'm pretty sure in the help file for just the default game, it tells you that if you plant oilseed radish and you till it under, that it will provide a layer of fertilization, which it doesn't. Either that got overlooked or it's a bug or something, but last time I used it, it didn't even work. Okay, well, so there's really no point in even doing it, like, unless you want to like role play that extra step of planting your crops, which I often do anyway. Well, here in precision farming, there's more purpose to oilseed radish. What we're going to do is we're going to plant it in the fall, and so long as we leave it planted through February, that's through the winter through February, and then we'll cultivate the field, grinding it down into the ground. It provides a healthy nitrogen bonus to the field and the crops, and we'll actually get, it says, like $500 or so per hectare subsidy. I don't remember the exact amount, but it says in the help menu. But it'll actually give you a subsidy, which is basically the government saying, yay, you're a good boy, you're good to the environment, here's some free monies, right? Which actually reminds me, one thing I forgot to mention, which I like about the Precision Farming DLC, and it was the same in previous games as well, is that the Precision Farming DLC was funded in part by the EU for Giants, which I think is really cool, because it's like the government helping educate people on farming and farming environmentally friendly, which I just think is cool. No political stance on that, I just think it's cool in general, so just thought I'd mention that. Right. Yeah, I have no political thoughts whatsoever on the EU, as I've never even been to Europe. But, but yet here we are in Poland, so there you go. Anyway, let's go out and balance the pH levels of our field here with our, now this is a mod, Agramash RU7000. This is a mod, lime spreader. It's because the game comes with a crap selection. Honestly, that's why. Because the game has crap selection. So we got us this mod lime spreader. It should work just fine with this. We're going to find out. By default, the game only has one lime spreader. It's really, I'll try not to get started on that. I get triggered so easily about the crap vehicle selection in this game. Anyway, with our lovely Kubota tractor here, now let's get out to our field. Oh, I love the map of Cebolovo. It's a beautiful little map. Now, yeah, I mean, this place is just incredible. So, oh, I gotta watch this bridge. We are going to, okay, yeah. So there in the window. Now, even if I close the help window, and usually when you see me play on my channel here, I usually have the help window closed because I don't like, and usually I have that closed too. I don't like stuff on my screen, right? But what I'm saying is, even with the help window closed, it still has the information box up there for precision farming, which is cool. I'm fine with that. Up there, you can see the application rate. Even with the help window closed, which is what I'm pointing out, you can see the application rate. It says 0 tons per hectare because we're not currently spreading anything, and it says auto. So we know it's on auto. We don't even have to have this pulled up, but we will leave this pulled up for any other information we need in operating the DLC. All right, so it's gonna operate. It's gonna do auto application rate. Now, in my experience with this, okay, before we start this, I want to say, in my experience with this in FS22, it automatically applies the lime to balance the pH level, and thus, if you ran over an area where you had already spread lime, it would stop spreading it. My experience so far in using this here, because I have done a dry run of all of this, is that in FS25, for whatever reason, it will continue spreading lime. My best guess, it's a bug or something. My best guess, because it didn't in FS22. I'm just preparing you for what's going to happen here. And here with the fertilizer spreading, it will not spray over areas it's already sprayed, because why would it? It's already adjusted, in that case, the nitrogen level. Well, here, just FYI, this is going to automatically balance the pH level. Now, and also right here, now that I'm on the field, you can see, because we have like GPS tracking and stuff on the tractor, and we have a field map, soil map, the tractor knows where we're at, and you can see right there in that window the current pH level of where we're at and our goal. So we need a little more green there on the bar, so it knows. And what I'm saying is, let's go ahead and turn this on. Let's get rolling. We're gonna flick it on. Oh wait, this is not a super wide work width. Here, I'm gonna turn this on. There we go. I was just working with machinery that was much wider than this. I just set this up for this video, and I just remembered, oh yeah, this machinery is not as wide work width. Let's get this up here so I can more easily talk and do things while we go. All right, so at least in my experience so far, this will continue to put down lime on areas we've already been. However, it won't add, don't worry, it won't mess up the pH value necessarily. We'll talk about that too. You see, I think there's maybe some bugs to work out here. But it will keep spreading it, taking it from your capacity, meaning this thing has 7,600 liters of lime left. If I were to sit in one spot and just let it spray, it would keep spraying, would not raise the pH value, but it would use it. And what I'm saying is it's automatic application, so it should stop using it. However, there's one thing. So like if I use this right here, it continues to run out, but it does not actually apply it to the field. In FS22, this would not have turned on. And the fertilizer spreader, to be clear, won't turn on either. So anyway, however, it will, the pH level on the map, I'm just listing the idiosyncrasies of this, the pH levels on the map will spike like right there. Notice it spiked my pH level at a start and stop as if it was applying a bunch in one area. But if you run over an area, you cannot reapply it over that. But any place like right here, if we stop and then start again, see on the map right there, see it like built it up, right? Don't know what to say about that. I'm just listing the things and the effects that I've seen in testing. That's how it works. I believe it was that way in FS22 as well. We'll just take it as one of the things I really like about this mod. One of the things I really, really like, you see, is it adds anomalies more to the fields. The fields are not an area of just binary data. You know, it's not a matter of this field is planted or this field is not planted. Fields have patches where stuff grows or doesn't grow. Fields have places where maybe there's tire tracks through them. Fields have places where the soil has different states. And that's where precision farming comes in to make things cool and add more variable data to the fields, which I like. Instead of just a field that's all one color, we have this beautiful granular picture of all the different states, you know? And so I welcome the imperfection in the field because it's more like real life that way, you see. So I'm listing off the idiosyncrasies, but I don't take it as criticism per se, although I don't think the lime should be spreading if there's already lime in an area, because as I stated, it didn't happen in FS22. If I turned the sprayer on here, it literally would not even activate, but let's not worry about it. So it's now working differently. Look, I already tested this and it was doing that when I showed you, but now it's not. So it's going to be an either or thing, and it probably is a kind of bug. What I'm saying is, notice that my lime spreader is currently turned on. It's not spreading lime, which is what it should be doing. But I demonstrated earlier how it would. Right. Well, now, tram lines, which you can see in the field next to me. We'll talk about that. Tram lines are lines that basically in the field in this case, which are not planted, and they're there to drive machinery through so you're not crushing crops. In this case, those are actually not planted. We'll cover that when we get to planting, because what we do is we'll actually put in, we need to spray lime in this other field as well. We'll put in the width of our sprayer, and it'll give that data to our planter. So basically it knows where not to plant crops, blah, blah, blah. And you can see it with precision farming on. You can see it on the map here. You can see the tram lines through all the NPC fields, basically, or actually not all of them, but most of them have them. We can turn them on or not. You don't have to use them. Like right now, they're not set for our thing. I'll just show you. Now we click on the field. We click tram lines. So it wants the distance between the tram lines. Okay, blah, blah, blah. It wants the width of our sprayer. You put in the width of the sprayer, which we don't know yet. Actually, yeah, we do. I just don't have the information on me. It's parked back at the farm. We would put in the width of our sprayer, and that gives the information to our seeder so that when we plant, it knows where not to plant so we can drive through it, and we'll check all that out. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get the lime spread on this field here. It's going to be the same as the last field, so we'll just cut to the next thing we're doing here. Okay, right here, I'm just finishing up the lime for the second field, and for whatever reason, I got to point this out, because the thing I pointed out earlier specifically is now working differently. Look, I already tested this, and it was doing that when I showed you, but now it's not. So it's going to be an either or thing, and it probably is a kind of bug. What I'm saying is, notice that my lime spreader is currently turned on. It's not spreading lime, which is what it should be doing. But I demonstrated earlier how it would. Right. Well, so then it's even worse than it not working, because now it just works when it wants to, I guess. Look, I don't know. But there. See, I have just left it on, and now it's spraying wherever it needs it, which is how it should be working. Now, of course, I'm using a mod lime spreader, right? But I tested this with all in-game stuff. So look, take it for what, take that however. So we'll just observe that it can work, and it does work when it wants to, but it may sometimes spread lime unnecessarily as it was. So that's an FYI. That's how it should work. And it didn't start working until literally right there. I started recording again. I was like, oh, well, look, it's actually decided to work. Go figure. Anyway, yeah, so there you go. We have got lime spread on our fields, and that means I think the next thing we're going to do is we're going to plant, because our seeder has fertilizer in it. Our seeder will fertilize as it plants. I'm not said we've got a sprayer loaded up with fertilizer, but we shouldn't need to use it because our seeder should take care of that. And so we're going to pass time until next month, and we're going to come through here and we'll be putting wheat in one field, oilseed, radish in the other. Oh, while we're back at the farm, I stopped here at our sprayer. We can see the working width is 21 meters. So we are going to elect to have the tram lines on our fields. So tram lines, we're going to set this for 21 meters. Okay. And we'll set it for this field as well. We may not have to use a sprayer for fertilizer. I don't imagine we will, but we will use it for herbicide. So, and this will, well, this way when we plant, which is the next thing we're doing, when we plant our fields, that will be built into it. And that's one of the new features. That's one of the listed new features in FS25 with precision farming. Well, here we are in September, and we are ready to plant some wheat. We have got, we got wheat loaded up in the seeder here. We're going to get this down to the fields. One thing I wanted to mention, and I didn't mention at the beginning, so I'll mention it as we drive out there to the field. So I mentioned I tested this already. Yeah, I did, because this is actually the second version of this video. Any of you, if you've ever created content for YouTube, you're probably familiar with the concept of spending hours on a video only to have to redo it. It's a very familiar concept. So I've already done all this. Now, I did it on a different farm, and I realized this is the best place to do it. And I've also realized, as you may be aware, today, normally I would post content for one of our farms. Like, well, the long-term cattle farm is the current farming series that we're doing here on the channel. Doing this here. I'm running other mods, which I'm not sure would work well with precision farming. And in particular, one mod which I've mentioned, realistic weather, as it affects crop yield and things like that. I'm not sure how it affects precision farming. I'm going to want to use precision farming, so we're going to work out like how to do this. I didn't want to run it with this, so hence we're doing this on a different farm here. So, okay, so we're going to get this set up. I just thought I'd mention some of this. We're going to get this set up for, all right, planting wheat. So yeah, we're here on this farm. I'm not sure how this is going to affect the series that we're doing. Also, precision farming just came out. And yeah, I'm not sure how nicely it plays with other mods. Let's go ahead and make sure our wheat is... Yeah, and so here in this particular, where we're at right now, I have very few mods loaded. Very, very few. Like, only, like, visual stuff, like, there's like, extra info windows, you know, for more information on stuff I'm mousing over. Like, maybe that lime spreader is a mod. So the lime spreader is a mod, and that Fent Xylon is a mod, and the sprayer. And that's because I wanted to see if particular modded equipment would work with precision farming. But basically, I'm running very, very few, which I think is the best way to test something, right? And so I don't know how it's going to affect. Maybe we'll start a different farming series. I'm not really sure. We'll do something, though. But for right now, let's get this wheat planted. And, oh yeah, so it should be... Whoops, this thing... I got totally distracted. So... We've been planting this, and so this has been applying fertilizer, and I forgot to even mention up here, it says, here, well then let's keep planting and let's pay attention to it here. I mean, we can see on the map where the nitrogen levels have turned green. So let's do another row and observe this. So we can see that, let's see, in the window up there, application rate, 666 kilograms per hectare, 27% nitrogen auto. It's set on auto, which we could see also if I hold the left button, the left shoulder button on my controller, it'll say deactivate automatic application rate, meaning that, yeah. And isn't there a variable seed rate too? I don't have controls for it. This says turn on crop sensor. Yeah, now, so I have the Stereo Pro Compact here on the mirrors. which to my knowledge is completely passive. We don't have to do anything about it, but there is the option to turn it on, and I did miss that. I don't think anything's going to happen, though. I've done this before, but we are going to turn it on. Where did I see that option? There it is. Holding both shoulder buttons, pop that up. Turn on crop sensor. What that's referring to is, yeah, the Serial Pro Compact. You can see my mirrors there. Or turn that. Oh, that's the same button to hide my lines. That's the same button I used to. That's the same key bind I used to hide my my GPS lines there on the field. But nothing happened when I hit it. It still says turn on. Notice that. So I don't think it does anything anyway. It's a passive thing that works in the background. As you can see here, let's get this planting again. Let's plant wheat while we talk here. And as you can see, it's applying the why did it not what I'm saying is the nitrogen level in the field is fine where it's planting the seeds. And so you can see here that, yeah, it's automatically applying it at the correct rate. Yeah, the Serial Pro Compact should be working. If it was the one that I showed you that you attach on the front of the tractor, I believe that one does need to be turned on and off because it's an active module. This is passively and runs by solar power. These on the mirrors here. So let me know in the comments, but I don't think this one has to be turned on or off, especially since I was pushing the button and it didn't specify anything there in the window. Right, anyway, I'm going to get all of this planted here, and then what we're going to do is we're going to swap to the other field, swap this to oilseed radish. Okay, and this is the last of our wheat being planted, and now when we look at our field, check our pH, or sorry, our nitrogen. Look at that, a perfect green, except it says, right, I don't know what that is, because we planted everything. What is that, you think? Oh, that's right. So it already put in the tram lines. I totally, completely forgot about that. And I was going to say something about that. So I was hoping okay, so a couple things regarding that. I was hoping since these fields are long and narrow and our sprayer has such a large work width, we would get one single tram line down the middle. We kind of mostly do. And I want to see how these work. And one thing that I'm curious about. So yeah, I forgot to even, that was a thing, but of course I already mentioned that in the video. Of course, yeah, that's why we put in the sprayer work width, is that it, so that it would get figured into our seeding here. And so our seeder did not plant in those specific areas. Now, one thing I wonder, and for instance, okay, let's look at this field here. For instance, right here, what's going to keep you from, if you're navigating this particular line here, what would keep you from accidentally trying to crush crops, trying to navigate these turns here precisely? It seems to me like what I'm saying is I'm hoping, and we're going to have, if you look at our field, we can't see it yet because no crops are growing yet, but right here it comes out and then turns. I'm hoping that there's some thing with, for instance, the guidance steering. When we pull this up, if we pull this up and lock onto this, I'm hoping those lines, and we'll find out, those tram lines will be those lines, right? So that our sprayer would automatically follow those lines and not crush the crops. You see what I'm saying? Because it seems to me, and I don't want to put the horse ahead of the cart here and assume, but it seems to me it'd be silly if we still ran over and crushed crops in other places, you know, when it went to all the trouble to not plant those lines for us. I guess we'll just find out. But anyway, yeah, I totally forgot about that. We're going to set our seeder now to oilseed radish. There we go. And we're going to plant this field with oilseed radish to leave over the winter. So let's get this started here. There we go. So now that that field is perfectly done, and let's check its pH level is as good as it's going to get, right? Because it literally won't let us spray any more lime. Its pH level is good. Its nitrogen looks good. And so that field, and notice our environmental score has gone up to 58. I swear it just said 59. Well, it says 58. Environmental score has gone up. Our goal is to try to get it to 100. Just see how this all works. We're going to get the oilseed radish planted here, and I'll catch up with you guys because what's going to be after that? I guess the next step would be waiting for stuff to grow, because our fields will have a balanced levels of acidity and nitrogen, and all that leaves is for crops to grow, right? Yeah, there is I thought, should I go over them and roll them? It does say they need rolling. That said, if we look at the environmental score here, it doesn't say rolling here. That's not something that's taken into account for this. I don't think it accounts for this. It just counts for like 3% yield. Maybe I'll come over it with the roller. This video is really just about precision farming. So I say once this is done, we're good to let the crops grow because everything else is done. The next thing we'll be doing is coming through with the sprayer when it's time to spray for weeds. All right, and now we have our oilseed radish planted. Now notice this field, it was using fertilizer, although at a very low rate, but notice this field has the, it's showing the nitrogen value as just the way it was. But of course, the purpose of oilseed radish is to increase the nitrogen level. So we're going to see how that goes over the winter. And then we're going to, in, let's see, March, we're going to cultivate the field. We're going to cultivate it under, and it should, well, A, we should receive a subsidy for that somehow. I'm not sure how that works yet. And we'll receive, should have nitrogen values, should be working on their own in the field. That's why we're doing this. We're going to find out. So, but I guess we're headed back to the farm. Everything here on the field is, everything on the fields is good. Although I got to say, as of right now anyway, I'm not sure about these tram lines. I mean, look, it looks so darn messy. I might choose not to run them. I'm running all this stuff and showing you guys every feature that I can of precision farming. But I'm not a fan of these automatically generated, like in this field here in particular. Perhaps on large, perfectly built square fields, it would be better. But we'll see how it pans out here. This is just a test farm. We'll see how it pans out. For now, let's get back to the farm, and we're going to be advancing the clock until, I guess, until it's time to come through here with the with weeding. Well, it's October, so I want to head out to the fields. Let's head out to the fields and see what everything looks like. I want to see, now that our crop would have started growing, we're going to go ahead and head down there with our sprayer. It's configured right now with fertilizer, but we could swap it to herbicide if we need. Just go ahead and head down to the fields. I want to see how this looks. Now this, I did equip this tractor with narrow tires. So the thing is, again, with the tram lines, I'm not sure how necessary they even are. I figure a lot of it's just aesthetic. And if the only reason I'm running them is for aesthetics, then, well, I got to say, where it chose to place them looks kind of crap, right? So I might choose not to run them at all. I say that because I like realism and immersion, so I would choose to run them for those purposes. But if they're just dotted all over in weird places in the field, then I don't think that does add any immersion. And I might just continue to run narrow tires on this tractor as we are right here. And do things as we have done them. All right, so, and yeah, here's the thing, like, how are we supposed to drive precisely on those lines? Like, I don't know. Again, that's a new feature. It's been added. Precision farming, look, precision farming has always worked great. There's been some kinks with it here and there, and we'll see how that plays out. But given the previous DLC for FS25, the extremely buggy and outright broken Nexat pack, which I'm still pretty sour about, to be honest, after that, I'm kind of skeptical about anything that they release for the game now, you know? And I gotta say that, yeah, not sure about some of this. Let's have a look at the field, though. All right, so it says that there's small weeds, so we can come over with the, we can swap that over to herbicide. Let's check out our maps here for, this still looks the same. Let's look at, well, the pH ain't gonna change. The only thing that might change is nitrogen might change. And specifically this field here, where we planted the oilseed radish, we should see that change over the course of the fall. Let's have a look at it here. I think we can wait another month. I don't think we need to come through with this yet, to be honest. I think we can wait another month because it just says, you know, small weeds, you know, big deal. Just wanted to see how the fields look. Here's our oilseed radish. It's growing. I see we come through here in another month. All right, we're out here in November, and medium weeds, that's no problem. The sprayer will take care of them. We definitely want to take care of them now, though. I don't want to let them get any worse than this, of course. And oh, it actually says pH good, nitrogen perfect. I didn't even notice that thing there. And it says that as well here, although, so yeah, I'm not sure if this is supposed to show red on the nitrogen or not, but let's go ahead. Let's run our weeder, our herbicide on this, and so we're gonna have to. Yeah, this still has. Let's start this up. This still has fertilizer in it. Let's go back here and unload this. We're gonna see how this runs. We're gonna see how these tram lines and everything work. Let's unload the fertilizer. Kind of made a mistake there filling this. I had to dump it a couple of times. Just push this out of the way. We're just running a test here. All right, we got it filled with herbicide. Now, I am curious. So let's flick this on. Here's the No field detected. Well, there's field literally right here. Let's get set up for this. Of course, I did, yeah, again, we put narrow tires on it, so it's not going to crush the crops anyway. But, now let's turn this on. And it wants us to run, that's what it says. So let's go ahead and hit this on. See where the are going to be. And yeah, okay, so that's what I wanted to see. Yeah, it's showing them directly over where the tram lines were. I mean, you would think that's what it would do, right? And that is what it's doing. So now this has got the fancy bits on it, the cameras, which only, so what it should do, okay, what it's going to do is, and it's a really interesting mechanism. It costs a lot of money, but it saves you, but it saves you a lot of money. What it does is, it's basically, it's only going to spray. Go ahead and turn it on. Actually, so yeah, so there's that. See, I turned it on. It's only going to spray where there are weeds and literally nowhere else. It's pretty cool actually seeing these things in action if you haven't. Going up the field here. And it will spray only when it sees a weed. Now there you go. You can kind of see it firing off a little bit here. So as you can see, yeah, it saves so much herbicide. Or fertilizer, in this case herbicide, of course. You can only just barely see it activating here and there. If I could get it, maybe we could see it here. Yeah, you see it kick on a few places. It's really short little bursts. It's just knocking out those weeds. Yeah, it saves, I believe it said it saves over 90%, which makes it incredibly environmentally friendly and, of course, also money friendly. Yeah, it's a very good deal. I'm not sure about the tram lines. Again, you know, I'm just kind of evaluating this as I go. I think they're kind of ugly. They don't look elegant or anything. And then there's another factor with them. You know, I turned the sprayer off. I don't know why. Let's just leave the sprayer on because it's only going to spray where there are weeds. In the distance, where, okay, like for instance, there in the distance where we're looking, this being a game, it doesn't render the crops forever. Where the crop rendering stops, it just renders the fields a certain color, and then you can see these tire tracks through the fields. Now, on this map, not every field has the tram lines, but I have seen this on other maps, and it looks kind of cruddy to just see off in the distance, just these, and immersion braking, to see just these big black, brown, whatever, you know, dirt tracks through every field. It kind of destroys some of the beauty of looking through the hilly farm countryside. You know, I gotta say, as much as I like this, I'm not sure about this particular feature here. So let's just run down here while I'm talking. And, oh yeah, I can see some of the things, some of the nozzles kicking out some herbicide. They're really fast bursts. But anyway, it's really cool how it works. Anyway, yeah, I'm not 100% sure on this. Tell me what you guys think in the comments down below. I like the idea of it, but in practice, seeing where the computer decides to put them, you know, like, yeah, I'm not 100%. Some fields it looks really bad, and then of course in the distance you can see all the fields look tracked up in the distance because of the way it renders crops. If it would not show those, if it would just show the, look, I don't know, I'm giving my input and everything as we go, and most importantly what we're doing is we're just seeing how all this works. All right, so we have run over that field. Let's check this out on the map. We're going to have to check this out on the soil composition map probably. Yeah, weeds. And, you know, maybe I should have hit them when they were small. We wouldn't have the dots that we do. If so, it's my fault. I figured, hey, we can wait till they're medium. But apparently, maybe I should have hit them when they were small. It's fine. So many things to flick through now. Environmental score is at 62. Whatever good that is. Actually, that one's 72. The 62 is average across our entire farm because this right here has not been weeded yet. That's where we're headed right now. Yeah, I don't think we're going to have any issue getting this to 100. I mean, it's not going to be, I don't imagine it's going to be some kind of min-maxy thing. I'm sure it'll be like super easy as long as you like the base game. As long as you do all your basic steps, then you're going to be fine. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to run this on this field here. Get this, just go ahead and flick it on now because yeah, I love this. You can just leave it turned on. It's only gonna blink out the herbicide where it needs it, so we can drive around the field with no fear that we're wasting herbicide. All right, so that is both fields. Let's check this out in the soil composition, and you see literally no gaps at all here. I'm assuming there were weeds in the oilseed radish. It could be that there were no weeds. I thought I checked. Maybe I didn't. Either way, I ran it over this field regardless. Ran it over this field. Let's see our, so we ran it over both. Overall, yeah, it didn't change at all. That still says 57. All right. So we're going to see how things go. I ran the herbicide over both fields, though, and notice that it only used 1% of our tank, of our capacity here. And we don't have a real high capacity. Our total capacity is, like 1,650 liters. So we used a total of 2 liters. Total of 2 liters of herbicide. Now, apparently it didn't need any on this field. Honestly, I didn't notice. It's fine. But this field here, that means on this entire field here, which did most definitely have weeds, it only used 2 liters. That's the advantage of having the, the weed, what do you call them? Darn it. Well, there's 2 different brands of it. This one's called See and Spray. The one we have is called Weed Seeker, See and Spray. It's the same thing, it's like the same thing, different name in this case though. There's little cameras that look and find the weeds and spray them. So let's get back to the farm, and we're going to advance time and see how our farm does over the course of the winter. And should be the next thing we're doing is running a cultivator over our oilseed radish in March. We'll see. Okay, right there it says, luckily I was still recording. I didn't stop it. It said $192 subsidies. I hadn't noticed it. I didn't notice if it did the previous month. I've just been passing time here at the farm. I was waiting till now. We're going to go get a piece of equipment. Of course, if you played FS25, you know that if you're trying to pass time through the winter, you need to stop at some point to let the snow fall. Otherwise, the snow will come crashing down in the middle of the summer or something. Giants, please fix that, by the way. So I was going to stop here in February and let the snow kind of cycle through anyway, and I happened to notice that crop subsidy. So that's the subsidy that it mentions for having oilseed radish planted. It's like, hey, you're a good boy, you're a good environmentalist. Here's a pat on the back. Here's a few $100s for you. Now, when we look at our fields, we're here in February, so we need to leave our oilseed radish planted through February. So I'm not going to be doing anything to the field just now, but I am going to go to the dealership and pick up a cultivator that I bought for us. Actually, I bought us a disc harrow, just for my own reasons. Same thing. The disc harrow will do shallow cultivation, which technically should be better for our environmental score than a regular cultivator, technically. Also, I like disc harrows. So we'll be running a disc harrow over the oilseed radish, and we'll check out our other crops. But other than that, we won't be doing anything. Everything here still looks fine, just the way we left it. So I'm going to run to the store, grab our disc harrow, and we'll check at the fields. Well, here we are in March. Now it's time to, we're going to cultivate the oilseed radish down into the fields. The fields look the same. I'm out here with disc harrow ready to hit the field. The fields look the same. And I've checked here. Everything here looks the same. I'm hoping once we run the cultivator, this nitrogen level should increase. Although, that's supposed to be a base function in the game that we did receive the subsidy. Of course, we saw that, but it's supposed to be a base function in the game that if you run oilseed radish and cultivate it under, it's supposed to increase the fertilization, without precision farming DLC, and I didn't see that. But let's not speak too soon. Let's actually get out here and fire this up and get to it here. We're not going to touch our wheat there, of course. Our wheat is still growing. We're just going to run this on this field. All right, let's run this and see. I'm hoping to see a change in the nitrogen on the field. Yeah, there is a change, but you see, now correct me if I'm wrong, but we're going to run this over the field. But you see, I thought the point of the oilseed radish was to bring nitrogen into the field, and there is a small change there, a very small change. We ran this through February, of course, because it's March. But we can see here there's a small change, like as in 20 kilograms per hectare, shift in the spectrum here. The only thing is if I'm doing something wrong, we could try coming out here with a cultivator. This is, like I said, this is a disc harrow. They do the same thing, but we could try coming out here with a cultivator. All right, so I'm one that always has to test everything, and let's just be sure here. So this is properly a cultivator. I can't leave any uncertainty. I've always been a very big fan of the scientific process. So not leaving anything to uncertainty. Let's run a cultivator on this. I'm sure we're going to see the same thing. Yeah, the exact same thing. The exact same thing. So let's go ahead and this thing doesn't have as big a working width, so let's just leave this here and go back with our disc harrow here since they're doing the same thing. I was hoping to see a bigger jump in the nitrogen level than just that. Yeah, if there's something I'm doing wrong, let me know. I don't think so. What's going to happen is, in the end, it's going to be fine. Just seeing some of these things, like I'm not sure about the tram lines. I'm not sure I like them. You know, they are what they are. I'm not sure I want to run with them. This right here, I'm just not sure about this at all because it is increasing the levels, but it's so minute that, again, I think as far as I can see, the use of oil radish is pretty much down to roleplay choice. You know, do you want that as a choice for how you do the field? After all, that is what a lot of these implements are basically for. There's a lot of implements which you don't need, but you can choose to run for various reasons for, just style choices on your farm, which I completely respect because I choose to do a lot of stuff that I don't have to do. I do a lot of unnecessary steps. It's looking like this doesn't provide much. Apparently, I think it says like a $500 per hectare, we could read in the thing here, subsidy, which we did receive. We only got, like $500 because it's a small field, but if it was bigger, that could be something noticeable. Oops, let's go to help and let's look at, so cover crops, which is what oilseed radish is, a cover crop. Cover crops increase soil organic matter and improve soil fertility by capturing excess nutrients after a crop is harvested. They also raise soil moisture by holding they also raise soil moisture holding capacity, help prevent soil erosion, limit nutrient runoff, and reduce soil compaction. So it might have more of an effect than just outright, it might be that just me looking for that nitrogen increase is me just still in my base game mind. There might be other things that it does, and it's likely something I would choose to do when I have the opportunity to anyway, because I do like doing things, for role play reasons, you could say, certain ways I like to run a farm that I think suits the particular location we're at or something like that. So I may still choose to run it, and I may look into this more. It's likely more than just a straight up bonus, because those things it said there, if it does take all that into account, this could come into benefit in the future. And the way to test that would be to do two similar fields, two similar sized fields side by side, use this on one and don't on the other, and compare the yields of the next crop you run, right? That would be the way to do that. So I don't think we need to do this any further here. We're not taking this particularly any farther. I just want to go through everything that's a part of the precision farming DLC, and while there's still a lot more, let's at least get to the harvesting of our wheat here in a few months. And let's check. I'm sure our score is the same. So our environmental score, the average of both our fields, 62. I'm thinking, now I don't really exactly recall from FS25, the precision farming. Seems to me, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, it may take more than just 1 year. That may be something, that score may be something that you work up over time. Seems to me that may be right. Now, see right here, we can see our bars and our points here. It seems to me that these things may increase over time because you see our nitrogen and pH level are perfect, and at least that's what it says. But yeah, these bars are just right here. Look, I don't know, but let's go ahead and we're going to leave this tractor here. I'm going to head back to the farm, and we're going to check on our wheat here in a few months. So I was just flicking through here. And of course, one thing, I was just looking through, seeing if our wheat's ready to harvest, which it's not quite yet. And I'm reminded of something. Yeah, see, one thing I did skip over is, of course, you can see here where we've cultivated the oilseed radish, and you can see that it has left a seed bed where it's at. So surely that does affect some hidden behind the scenes scores on your field. Because, yeah, so I figured it's not as black and white as, it just increases the nitrogen level. It's left us a good seed bed, which I'm sure, again, there's probably some hidden behind the scenes stats as to how it affects things growing further. So just keep that in mind, that, it's not as black and white. It's just the nitrogen. Planting the oilseed radish, I'm sure, provides benefits, and it's just a fun extra step to do. Anyway, I just thought I'd mention that as I noticed that you could see where we've cultivated it, and it's left a seed bed. Whereas had we just run a cultivator over the ground, it would just say cultivated. course, then there's debatable. Those states were always in the game before, and it's debatable what difference did those even make. And I still say a lot of it's probably down to just RP choices, but nonetheless, there you go on that. We're going to wait until another month or so and see when our wheat's ready to plant, or sorry, harvest. I just wanted to check on that. So as we pull up to the field, I got to say, yeah, those visible tram lines in the fields from far away as you're driving up, I think it's ugly. See, because here's the thing, okay, like this field right beside us, you can see this field has grown up, right? But because of the way the game renders everything, it doesn't render the crops down there, just the ground. And so I wouldn't be able to see those tire tracks down there, but because of the way things are, we do. And I got to say, my opinion, it's ugly. I'm not sure I want to drive around the map and see that. I love the beauty of the farms and everything. Now, as they come into render distance, like here, it looks fine, looks okay, looks like a normal field. It's just a thing, you know, off in the distance, seeing those tracked up fields. I got to express my personal opinion, and I don't know. What do you guys think? You know, what do you think? So we're here at the field. Let's get our harvester unfolded here. But so we're gonna get this harvested, and well, that's pretty much we will have pretty much run through a whole loop with everything in the DLC. Now, while this unfolds, let's have a look and let's make sure we did go through everything. I wanted this video to be as comprehensive as it could, going through everything. It pretty much works, you know, the same. It works the same way as it did in FS22, with the addition of the trim lines and the oilseed radish subsidy. I believe those were the new things. Everything else, I think, is the same. I think everything else is the same. We've run through all of this, and I've tried to touch on all of this, and I think we did. I think I touched on all of this. Now, I'm going to have more videos coming up, probably every day, working with different aspects of precision farming, so stay tuned to the channel for that. And make sure you're subscribed, and if you're not, I appreciate if you subscribe. And oh, it's raining. Follow along with the content here on the channel. We're going to have to come back when it's not raining. Of course, I didn't notice that. We can fix that right now. Yeah, so if you like the content on the channel here, let me know and subscribe. Yeah, make sure that you are. Helps out the channel. And let's change our scale, our time scale. We're going to have to go this way, and let's just turn it up here a little bit. And let this rain pass. And yeah, so we're going to be revisiting aspects of precision farming. I imagine every day in the near future here, we're going to be touching on like everything that we can here, testing things and such like that. We're going to let time pass till it stops raining. I want to get through the harvest and see. Oh, there we go. We better stop time before it runs away from us. All right. There we go. Oh, it's only 10:30 in the morning. Safe to harvest now. And now as we harvest, and of course this is also covered in the help menu, everything that we're talking about, well, every aspect of the DLC is covered in the help menu. You can see right there, and even if I put it on cruise control, even if I close my help window out, you can still see that up there. So it's saying our average, so our yield is 6.9 tons per hectare, 95% yield. That's good. So really the only thing we missed out on the yield was we didn't roll it after planting. So you see, we got a great yield. Had we rolled, we'd be at what, like 98% yield. So we got a really good yield on the field. The help menu explains everything as well as I could, or better, up there. Why is our harvester moving so slow? We're going uphill is my best guess. I'm like, why am I going so slow while we're talking? Probably because it's going uphill. That is a 6.6 meter wide header. It's a little wider than you may normally see on this machine. You know what I found? It is a mod header, and I have found some headers don't attach as well as they could to the harvester. Is it sitting too low and dragging the ground? I've seen that before. You know what? It could be messing us up. I think it's just because we're going uphill. Anyway, let's check this out here on the map. Regardless, so we've gone through the entire cycle here. And that's really everything that we need to know about, that I wanted to have in the video about precision farming and everything like that. We don't need to reap in the whole harvest and everything. We've seen the full loop, the whole gameplay loop of how all of this works. Precision farming is fun. I like it. So the whole point here, the whole thing is, and see, I like these in the field. I think this is immersive to have these in the field. I prefer if they were a little more uniform and like farther apart, you know. Of course, I know why they are where they are. They are where they are because the work width of our sprayer, if we had a wider work width sprayer, right. But the thing is, it auto generates them just like it does the lines, and so the computer ain't that smart, you know. I think a human could do them better. And then, of course, my issue with them appearing in the distance like we see back there. But hey, so aside from that, what I really like about it and what I wanted to showcase in this video is precision farming is as precision and micromanagery as you want it to be. You know, it's as in-depth as you want it to be, and it's as casual as you want it to be. We ran this, and that's what I wanted to showcase. We ran this whole thing on just auto application rates, and it works just fine. You see we're pulling a 98% yield off this field here. Our pH value is perfect. Our nitrogen is good. Everything's fine. And so yeah, that's one thing that's great about it, is you can micromanage as much or as little as you want. So tell me what you guys think in the comments down below. And there's likely changes coming to it or fixes. And there, of course, there's also the inevitable thing of I'll just simply learn how to use it better. So I look forward to hearing from you guys what you think. And I'll catch you real soon, probably tomorrow, if not even later today. Actually, I'm going to be really exploring this, trying different machines, different fields, different test scenarios, and things like that. So stay tuned for more videos testing different aspects of precision farming. And of course, definitely I'll have shorter individual videos on individual parts of this. You know, like we'll have different videos covering different aspects of this, so that I don't know how long today's video is going to be. But anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you soon.